Hello, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Sending Ravens. This is our lesson number 15. A little late, better late than never, I always say. Yeah, I tried to put up a video yesterday and it just never worked, so I'm redoing the whole thing here. Something must have been, I must have needed to tweak something because it just wouldn't load. So here's our lesson 15, take 2. Okay, so we're doing the swords. The suit of swords is largely, here's the whole suit here, largely misunderstood. We're going to focus on the minor arcanas and not the court cards. This might have to happen in lesson 16. But the suit of swords is very fast moving and swift, and it looks a little dreary. Notice the colors. There's a lot of dark colors and grays and very few. There's only one really yellow one. And it's interesting because the yellow ones are usually bright and good news type. This is maybe the best news card here. This is definitely not necessarily good news. So it's interesting they went with a yellow on that background. Yeah, but the thing about swords is they move fast because they're as quick as a thought. So remember, swords is the suit of thoughts and words. So they're about conversation, thinking about something, taking the action to move on your thoughts. So usually words come after thoughts. So we think something, we say something, we take action on our thoughts and words, right? Now, the Ace of Swords is one of the biggest, yes or even no cards, depending, right? So it's very... it'll affirm something for you, whether it's a yes or a no, but it'll say, yep, you're right about whatever you just asked, right? So it could even be saying you're right about a no on that. You know what I mean? It depends on how you ask a question, but it's very affirmative and it knows something. We know something. And sometimes it'll even come up. It'll even come up as pay attention to this and you need to speak about this. Kind of like what's been going on in our Tarot by Janine channel. Have a look at what we've been doing there. The last couple of days we've been hitting on some really big, hard to talk about subjects. And we asked if we should bring those kind of subjects forward in that channel and move away a little bit from Meghan and Harry's story. Of course, we'll get back to that story. But we got this, which is yes, it's time to speak. So this card can be about speaking up and the timing is right about something. It's very intense and passionately moving forward with a thought or move forward with the idea you had, right? But you have to put swords in perspective. If you have a lot of swords in a reading, you're likely thinking a lot or maybe too much in your head. Maybe you need to move into your feelings and body self, which would be cups and pentacles. Right? And wands, of course, are life force, energy, libido, and inspired, creative, or physical sort of movement, sort of energy that moves through you, whereas this stays in thoughts and comes out in words. So writing comes to mind, speaking comes to mind, blogging, bloggers get a lot of swords in their readings maybe. And when your advice is, this is what you need to do. You need to speak about, sing about, communicate something, get your thoughts out there. And usually the way to do that is through word, spoken and or written, right? Now, the Two of Swords, so I'll just move these over and zoom in on this one, so this is we had a great inspired idea, but this card waits. So if this comes as advice, it's wait and sit on that idea. Maybe there's more information to gather. You don't know everything. That's why the blindfold. Possibly there's a third approach. So sometimes we think there's this way to do it or this way, and we have to make a decision. This card can literally be about you're on a crossroads with a decision and you haven't decided. You're sitting on the fence is another way to describe this card. Somebody who's waiting and thinking about and mulling something over. It can be about procrastination. If it's badly aspected, you could be doing this and sort of missing the whole point or missing taking action on something. You're going to miss an opportunity maybe, or miss a meeting, or you're missing something, you're missing the big picture. There could be a third way to look at a situation. So wait until you come up with a more creative approach, because this is like one way to do it, and the other both ways could be not working really. There could be a third sword you're missing there, a third approach, and you need to take time to think about what that is. Now, if this card comes up and it's describing what somebody's doing, okay, it gives you an insight into the fact that they're either waiting and mulling something over, they're sitting on the fence. They look around the other cards. Are they going to be doing this for a long period of time? Are they a procrastinator? Is this necessary right now? Do they have other things to consider? You want to keep looking around that card reading where this card came, to understand what is the holdup, because there's some kind of holdup. And sometimes it tells you need to wait and think and maybe come up with a third approach. Possibly you've got the wrong approach in either of the ways you were thinking. So you're on this crossroads, and possibly you have to create a whole third way to do something. So depending, is it saying do this, so wait and think about it and be careful which way you jump off that fence? Or is it saying you're doing this and you're missing, out on something through doing this? You need to jump off the fence one way or the other? Or do you need to find a third way, through thought and meditation? Or is it just describing a situation that's on hold? Now, if a situation is on hold and this card comes up to describe it, it likely isn't going to be on hold. It's not a major arcana, and it likely won't be on hold, for too long. This is not necessarily a long-lived card. And the thing about swords is they move rather quickly. Okay, the energy moves. Now, this card is very misunderstood. Very misunderstood, okay? People that see it, right away, it's very sorrowful looking. And of course, it can mean a loss and feeling hurt. But don't forget, it's swords. So those swords are poking through somebody's heart. So the memory of, the thought of, and the words, so speaking something over and over, having a memory, and remembering, okay, 20 years ago, somebody said something to me that was really hurtful, and I'm going to speak about it, talk about it, remember it, think about it, and go over it, and re-hurt myself with the information, right? So when a person is in healing or in mourning, the card will come up, and it's absolutely necessary to go through and over things that were hurtful or things that you remember about a person, good or bad, but just the memories of something. So it's about thoughts, but being hurt by your thoughts. So sometimes it hurts to remember somebody who's no longer with us. All of that's part of a healing process, and there's absolutely natural and nothing wrong with that. In fact, speaking through our hurts and talking about things that have hurt us is really necessary. But at some point, you need to let it go. And so sometimes the card will come up badly aspected, and it's saying, stop hurting yourself with the information. Don't re-wound yourself by going over and over things. 20 years later, you're still talking about this thing somebody said. The person could be completely in a different state of mind, though you should have healed from that already. You got to let go. We can't hang on to things that hurt us. We need to heal from it and move past it, just to be able to navigate this earth plane. So oftentimes this card will come up and it's saying, let go of speaking about and going over, vibrating to your hurts. Try talking about how you're, have a new mantra that says, I am healing, and every day I feel more healed from that situation that hurt me. I'm going to let go of that. Every day I let go of that. Don't take things so personally, right? So sometimes the card's about, you need to stop hurting yourself with and or talking. Sometimes it comes in as an internal card, and it's saying you are speaking about yourself from a hurtful place. Like when people talk bad about themselves, right? They're putting themselves down, and some people find it really funny. comedians do it all the time. And it is funny, but it's very, if you keep doing it and you really buy into it, you're going to vibrate to the things you're saying about yourself. You need to be a good friend and speak well of yourself, you know, otherwise you're going to stay stuck in a really negative perception of yourself or in a really negative place in your life, right? Like, I personally can't be around people that verbally put themselves down. I can't do it. And it's like, I'm not going to, because to me, part of our work here is to learn to love ourselves. And if I'm hanging out with somebody and I have to convince them they're okay. Okay, that just gets on my nerves. It's very young soul to sit around just talking smack about yourself. Okay, it's actually really self-centered. Because now everybody's got to chime in and tell you, no, we don't see it that way. Now we got to do your work for you. We got to do your self-love work for you. Forget it. Like, I'm not hanging out with people like that. All right, people have to do their work. And I'm an irritating friend, because when someone's talking really bad about themselves in my presence, I warn them and tell them, no, I'm not going to listen to that. What, I got bad taste in friends? You know, it's offensive. When people love you and you're like, oh, but I'm so fat and like, look at how ugly I am. And you know what I mean? I've actually heard people, grown women and men even, say really nasty things about themselves. And it's like so offensive. It's like, really? Yeah, it's just too immature and I can't work with it. So telling your friends, please don't talk badly about yourself, right, is really important sometimes. You got to call them up on that, right? It's so self-centered for them to do that. That's my rant for the day. Now, this card, if it comes as advice, it could be saying you need to work through your hurts by talking it over. So therapy, talking your whole situation out with friends and people you trust. And of course, there's a time to do that. But if it comes as this is what your challenge is, possibly you're now talking about it too much, you're holding on to something mentally that's long since needs to be healed, because we can mentally reopen wounds by thinking and speaking and getting back into the whole feeling of something that hurt us, 10 years ago. It's like, why? Why would you do that? Let that go, recreate that. Find how you became who you are today from it. Find what the blessing was from it, or the lesson at least, and let it go. Right? So this card can be very interesting. And if it comes up and it's describing why somebody's not moving forward in a relationship, possibly they're still hurting from a past and they're not over something, right? So that's somebody you want to walk away from because this is not, this needs to be healed, and they're not ready for something new. If you're wondering, and this comes up in a relationship spread. Okay, so let's look at the Four of Swords. Now this card is a bit of a hold up card. Okay, so somebody sort of held up because they don't know some information. Notice the 3 swords above. So they have some of the information on something, but there's hidden information. So they're either hiding something from you, depending on where the card comes up, hiding something from the situation, or they may even be unbeknownst to them, there's more information and that they aren't aware of. Okay, or it could be saying you're not aware of all the situation that's going on. Possibly there's hidden things you don't know about. So wait before you talk about it. You don't have all the information. Sometimes it'll come up as advice. So it's saying, don't speak about something yet. This person's not taking action. Don't speak about something because there's more information coming that could change your opinion. Right? So you have to look, is the card saying wait, don't speak about something yet? Or is the card coming as your challenge, which is your challenge to speak about something, to find the truth, dig deeper for the truth, let the truth out, stop sleeping on information. It could just be warning you that somebody's hiding information. If it comes up externally to you, there could be hidden information around a situation. You don't know all the truth about it, so maybe you have to wait to see how things pan out. I'd say that's pretty appropriate for what's going on right now in the world. I don't think we know, we're just barely told what's going on. And a lot of what's in the news and media is, likely contrived, and we're not sure about what's really going on. The whole world. Fascinating. So that card could be about, hidden information. So it's either saying dig for, or it's saying wait, depending on where it comes in a reading. Is it telling you to wait, or is it telling you don't divulge things? Keep some things hidden, because not everybody's safe to tell your secrets to, right? Or is it describing how someone's feeling? Now, if it comes in a physical place, like you're asking about health, this card's about illness, and not all the way from not feeling well, so like dizzy, or just having a bad day where you need more rest, or it could literally be you're going to be down for a few days. Now, unless it's really badly aspected, it's not going to be about severe health issues. You have to look around. How well aspected is it? If the devil's next to it, it could be a near-death experience, or the death card's next to it. It could change your life forever having this. So sometimes we'll have an illness that changes our life forever, and we're never the same through the experience. So there's all kinds of ways that could talk about somebody's health. So you have to really look around the card and see what's going on. Sometimes it literally just means you're going to get, a common cold, or something the flu or something that'll take you down for a few days. If it's well aspected, it could just mean a few days where you need more rest, literally. Okay, now let's look at the 5. So the 5 of Swords, this card's somewhat been misunderstood. I like 5s in a way, because they're transitional. They're talking about a transition. So the thing about 5s is they never last that long. And swords are short-lived anyway, so this could be a conflicting kind of having an argument with someone. It could talk about atmosphere feels a little bit like you're walking on eggshells. Notice how that guy looks like he's won, but maybe in an unfair way, because look at him, he looks like, I got all the swords. And those guys are walking away feeling like they got duped out of something. Sometimes the card can mean, unfair winnings, whether it's yourself, in an unfair way, you sort of won just because you had a need to win. So verbally an argument when somebody always has to get the last word in, that kind of thing. Or it can mean the energy of having a verbal scrap with somebody, because it is swords, so it's thoughts and words. Or you're thinking really negative thoughts, or you're having really conflicted thoughts about something. You could internally feel really conflicted about something. The atmosphere in the card feels a little, like feisty. And if this is talking about your atmosphere at work, wow, right? You're definitely, there's definitely some tension around your situation. But the thing about 5s is they do clear themselves up. So then you have to look around the card reading. What do you do to get this to clear up? Because, whatever's going on, it's temporary. So it could be a temporary setback of some kind, mentally, and mental thoughts, negative thoughts taking over, setting you back from your usual positive outlook. Yeah, so you have to look around. Where does the card come? Is it your advice? Do you need to hash something out with somebody and don't be afraid of conflict? Or do you need to stop being so into conflict? Because some people just love to start fights, right? So the card can be like, stop doing that, right? Stop picking fights, road rage, watch your temper. Somebody's going to have a temper tantrum if it's in your workplace or your daily route. Maybe you're going to run into somebody who's got a lot of anger issues. Maybe your relationship, there's unresolved things and unspoken about things that need to be talked about, but watch your temper in it, or the other person needs to watch their temper. So you have to look around. Where does the card come? Who is it describing? Or is it describing a situation, your atmosphere? Do you feel like this? Yeah. Wow. So many things. Now let's look at So we've got the 6 of Swords, moving out of troubled water. So it goes from the 5 where there's conflict and it takes time to sort of shift, but all of a sudden there's clarity. This card has a conversation that clarifies things. So through conversation, thought, and clear-mindedness, you get a really big shift into more positive place in your life. Look at this person. They look like, see that there? So they're pushing their family out of troubled water into clear waters. And they're doing it through, because it's, you know, the Suit of Swords, thought and word. So spoken word, having a conversation, speaking about something. You may need to clear the air on something. You may need to sort of out with your information you've been holding on to. You may need to have a really big heart-to-heart with somebody. You may need to say something that shifts your situation. Someone may be having a conversation with you that clears up what's been going on, which was a mystery till now. Yeah, so that card really shifts things out of troubled water into a better place. They're moving to a better place through a conversation, or information is coming out. Sometimes it's about information revealing itself, or somebody's purposely putting information out that moves us out of troubled waters into, or gives us clarity on a situation. So you have to look around. Is the card asking you to do this? So do you need to speak to somebody about something and clarify it? Clarify your situation. Maybe there was a misunderstanding in the 5. And then it moves to, okay, but through conversation. Sometimes just having a communication with somebody can shift really, you know, you could have misunderstood or taken something personally. Somebody else could have. So the card often indicates better things coming. So no matter where it comes in the reading, you could be moving into clearer waters, better things. If it's in your finances, that's good. There could be emails or information coming that moves you into, you might hear that you're getting a raise, or your financial situation's getting better, or information's coming about work on the way, or contracts or more clients. Yeah, so it's a great card. And if it's your challenge, maybe seek out ways to get clarity on a situation. And if it's your advice, maybe you need to clarify something with somebody, make yourself clear. Maybe somebody didn't understand you. Maybe there's a situation that needs more conversation, or a bigger look at, or see the bigger picture in a situation. Or even could even just be saying, trust that you will pass through the difficulties into a more calm place, right? Or calm your mind, or use meditation and, you know, maybe mantras to move yourself out of troubled water, because sometimes we're the ones that create that choppy water with worries and fears, right? So yeah, it's fascinating. Now, I'm going to do one more here, and then we're going to leave it because we're getting up in the time here. It's hard to put these videos up on Patreon. I think they need to redo that site, frankly. Anyway, so we've got the 7 of Swords. So we've got the 7 of Swords. Now, this card's really interesting. It's about strategy. This person is using their words strategically, because if you look, he looks like he's been shifting those swords around. Sometimes he puts 2 down, sometimes he's puts 3 down. He's in action. So sometimes he says this and that to make something look a certain way. We could say the mainstream media does this constantly. It's always manipulating stories and words to appear a certain way. Anything could appear. You could be misquoted. You could be, somebody might have misunderstood your original meaning of something when the card comes up. You could really need to use your mind strategically to get something to happen. Maybe it's advice saying, you know what, manipulate a situation with your words, or say the right thing to get this thing to happen. And sometimes that's okay. And other times, if this is badly aspected, it's saying now there's lying and cheating and manipulation of words now to, you know, the detriment of a situation, or now it's just out and out, BS, so this person, if they're badly aspected, this card can go badly really quickly, because of course that manipulating words for a certain outcome is a slippery slope, and sometimes it's necessary, absolutely, to get jobs, to like get something to happen, absolutely, but often it can be misused, and it can be about misrepresenting oneself or a situation through words, by manipulating words. And we see that certainly with, you just go on over to Tarot by Janine and watch some of the situations going on around the Meghan and Harry saga. And just in life in general, mainstream media is doing this to us constantly. It's fascinating. Anyway, yeah, so look, where does the card come? And do you need to do this? Is this necessary? Are you doing this too often? So are you overestimating and or exaggerating situations to your own gain? Because that could be you, or is someone else doing that? Is someone lying to you? Are you being told something just to manipulate you into doing an action? So you really have to look at, where does the card come? What was the question? And what's, is this advice? If this is advice, you need to maybe manipulate a situation with your words to be able to get something to move forward. But sometimes we do this too much, and now we're abusing that, because that can be abused really easily. Or we're being abused by manipulation of people's words. Wow. Okay, so thank you so much. We're going to look at the rest of these three, and then we'll start on these guys here, the court cards, next week. And everybody have a wonderful week, and I hope your weather is as nice as ours. I know people from all over the world watch, so who knows what season they're in, but we're having a wonderful spring, thank goodness, finally here. Send in everybody ravens.